All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going deep with The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy. This book basically claims we can achieve success, better health, and happiness all by harnessing the power of our subconscious. Makes you think, is this like self-help or is straight up science fiction?
Well, what's interesting is that Murphy actually approaches the subconscious in a really practical way. He doesn't get all mystical about it. Instead, he lays out a framework for understanding how it works and how we can actually use that to create real change.
Yeah, and he uses this really cool analogy of the subconscious being like a fertile garden.
Right, totally. Like any thought or belief we plant there is going to grow. So the question is, what are we actually putting in there? Are we planting seeds of doubt and fear, or nurturing those beliefs that actually help us?
So it's not just about, thinking happy thoughts every now and then.
Not quite, no. Murphy really challenges us to be aware of what he calls our mental diet. What are we consistently feeding our subconscious? Because whatever we feed it, that's what shapes our reality.
Okay, so it's like when you wake up in a bad mood and then everything just seems to go wrong. It's almost like you're attracting the negativity.
Exactly. The book suggests that our subconscious can't really tell the difference between what's objectively true and what we just strongly believe to be true. It just responds to whatever those dominant thoughts are.
So, okay, if our beliefs have this much power, how do we actually change those deep-seated ones that might be holding us back?
Well, Murphy argues that we're not stuck with the beliefs that we, inherited or developed over time. He introduces this idea of autosuggestion as a tool for reprogramming our subconscious mind.
Autosuggestion. That sounds pretty intense. What's that all about?
Honestly, it's more straightforward than it sounds. It's about consciously choosing the thoughts and beliefs we want, and then using techniques like repetition and visualization to kind of impress them on our subconscious.
So we're not talking about chanting on a mountaintop or anything.
Not necessarily, though finding moments of stillness can definitely help. The key is consistency. Think of it like tending to that garden we were talking about. We got to consistently weed out the negative and plant positive thoughts in their place.
So one technique he talks about is affirmations. But I think a lot of people just think of those as kind of surface level. Can you talk about why they're effective from a subconscious perspective?
Sure. So think about it. Our subconscious, it's formed through years of repeated experiences and thoughts, right? Affirmations work by introducing a new positive message. And with consistent repetition, that new message starts to overwrite those old limiting beliefs. It's almost like creating a new groove in a record. The more you play it, the deeper that groove becomes.
And what I find interesting is that Murphy doesn't just say, think positive and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
He actually gives a framework for how and why these techniques work.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it just makes them feel more credible and achievable.
Absolutely. He really digs into the psychological mechanisms behind these practices. That's what sets his work apart from a lot of those more superficial self-help approaches.
Now, Murphy isn't afraid to push the boundaries of, conventional thinking, is he? He brings up this idea of a universal mind. I gotta admit, that sounded kind of out there to me at first.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the more thought-provoking ideas in the book. He's basically suggesting that we're not just isolated minds, right? But we're actually all connected to this universal intelligence, this huge network of energy and consciousness. It's an idea that might resonate with people who have those aha moments where solutions just seem to appear out of nowhere.
Oh yeah, you're struggling with a problem and then the answer just pops into your head, seemingly out of thin air.
Exactly, and those could be glimpses of our connection to this universal mind. Murphy suggests that when we quiet our conscious mind and tap into this deeper wisdom, we can unlock all these creative solutions and insights.
And this whole concept of a universal mind leads him to talk about what he calls scientific prayer, which I found super interesting because it's not about religion or dogma.
Right, exactly. It's more about aligning your desires with this universal intelligence, this higher power. It's about surrendering your worries and fears to something greater than yourself, trusting that it'll guide you towards your goals, like letting go of the oars and letting the current take you.
Wow, that's a really great analogy.
Right.
So it's not about forcing things to happen through sheer willpower.
It's more about surrendering and trusting that the universe is working in your favor, even when you can't see how.
That's a pretty powerful concept, and I think one that can bring a lot of comfort, especially when things are uncertain.
Absolutely. It's recognizing that you're not alone on this journey. There's this universal force that supports you and wants to see you succeed.
And it seems like this idea runs through all of Murphy's work, right? This idea that we have so much more control over our lives than we think.
You got it. He's empowering us to take ownership of our thoughts and beliefs, and ultimately our destinies. It's a message of hope and possibility. You know, it's really interesting how Murphy takes these abstract ideas, like the subconscious mind and universal intelligence,
Yeah.
and makes them feel so tangible, like you can actually work with them.
I know, right? That's what I love about his work. He doesn't just leave you hanging with these big ideas. He gives you the tools to actually put them into practice.
Exactly. And he goes deep into techniques like visualization, or what he calls mental imagery. It's such a powerful way to influence the subconscious mind.
Yeah, he has some pretty amazing stories, like that woman who used mental imagery to heal from a serious illness.
Oh, yeah, that's a great example. And it's so fascinating because her recovery, it defied medical explanation. It shows just how strong the connection is between our mind and body, and how much our beliefs can actually shape our physical reality.
It makes you wonder how much we're all capable of, like how much potential is just waiting to be unlocked.
I know, right? Murphy suggests we limit ourselves by focusing on what we lack or what we fear, instead of using our imagination to create what we want.
So how do we actually use visualization? Is it just daydreaming about our goals?
Well, it's a little more intentional than that. Murphy says to create a super clear mental picture of what you want and really engage all your senses: sight, sound, feeling, even smell and taste. It's about experiencing the achievement of your goal like it's happening right now.
So you're not just passively thinking about it, you're immersing yourself in that reality.
Exactly. And it's not just about success either. Visualization can help you overcome fears or negative thoughts too.
So like someone who's afraid of public speaking, they could visualize themselves giving a presentation feeling totally calm and confident.
Exactly. They're basically rewiring their subconscious to associate public speaking with confidence instead of fear.
That's so powerful. It's like we can create a whole new blueprint for how we experience the world.
That's the beauty of it. We're not just stuck with our past experiences or limiting beliefs. We have the power to choose how we want to see and interact with the world.
Okay, so we've talked about affirmations and visualization. Murphy also mentions a practice called scripting, which I thought was interesting because it kind of combines both of those.
Oh yeah, scripting is a really cool way to solidify your desires and beliefs. You write out your goals as if they've already happened, describing everything in vivid detail. And you weave in positive affirmations too.
So it's like writing a movie script for your ideal life.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And by reading and revising that script over and over, you're really hammering those desires and beliefs into your subconscious.
It's like you're planting those seeds in your mental garden and watering them with each reading.
Exactly. The more you engage with that script, the more those seeds take root and start to grow into your reality.
It all comes back to consistency, doesn't it? That constant effort.
Absolutely. Murphy's really clear that working with the subconscious mind isn't about quick fixes or magic formulas. It's about consciously committing to cultivating the thoughts, beliefs, and habits that align with the life you want.
Which reminds me of the power of gratitude. Murphy talks about that a lot too.
Yes. Gratitude is such a simple yet powerful practice. It shifts our focus from what we lack to what we already have, which creates a sense of abundance and contentment.
It's like we're taking time to appreciate the flowers that are already blooming in our mental garden, instead of focusing on the empty spaces.
I love that analogy. It reminds us that even when things are tough, there's always something to be grateful for.
And I think from a subconscious perspective, gratitude is like sending a signal to the universe, like, hey, we're open to receiving more good stuff.
Totally. When we're grateful, we attract more of what we appreciate. It's like this positive feedback loop.
It makes you realize that creating a fulfilling life, it's not necessarily about reaching some big, far-off goal. It's about making small, consistent choices every day to align our thoughts and beliefs with what really matters.
Exactly. I'm realizing that we have the power to do that. We all have this incredible resource inside us, the subconscious mind, and we can tap into it to create real positive change.
Honestly, after going through all these techniques, I'm like seeing my own thoughts and beliefs in a whole new way. It's kind of like realizing you had this awesome superpower all along, but didn't know how to use it.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Like, we've got this incredible toolbox, but no instruction manual. And Murphy, he gives us that manual. He shows us how to use those tools to build the lives we want.
And he keeps saying anyone can do this, right? You don't need special skills or anything. It's just making the choice to use the power of your mind.
Exactly. It's not about being some naturally positive person or having mystical powers. It's about understanding how the subconscious works and actually applying that knowledge.
You know, one thing that really got me was this idea that Our subconscious can't tell the difference between what's real and what we believe is real. That's kind of a mind-blowing concept when you think about it.
Oh, totally. It means our beliefs, whether they're positive or negative, they literally shape our reality. So we have to be really careful about what thoughts we let take root in our minds.
So it's not just about like slapping on a happy face and calling it a day.
No, it's about being really intentional with our thoughts, recognizing that they have real power. If we're always focused on fear and lack, we're going to see more of that in our lives. But if we cultivate beliefs of abundance and possibility, our subconscious will actually work to make those things happen.
So it's like checking in with yourself.
Yeah.
Asking, am I feeding my mind with negativity or am I giving it something good to grow on?
Exactly. It all comes down to what you feed it.
I gotta be honest. When I first heard about the universal mind, I was a little skeptical. It just seemed a bit too, woo-woo for me. But the more I think about it, the more it makes sense, especially with those aha moments, when a solution just comes out of nowhere.
Those moments can be so powerful, and they often come when we least expect them. Like after we've stepped away from a problem and let our subconscious mull it over, it really feels like tapping into some deeper wisdom.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, could those insights actually be a connection to something bigger than ourselves?
It's definitely a possibility, and honestly, it's a comforting thought, knowing we're not alone on this journey, that there's something out there that wants to see us succeed.
It's like you don't have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders.
Right, and it opens us up to a sense of wonder and possibility. Reminds us that there's more to life than meets the eye.
Well, I think we've explored a lot today. From practical techniques like autosuggestion and visualization to the bigger picture stuff like the universal mind. It's been an amazing journey into the power of the subconscious.
It really has. And I think the biggest takeaway is that we all have this incredible power to create the lives we want. It's not magic, it's understanding our own minds and using that knowledge to our advantage.
And if you're listening and you're feeling inspired, you got to check out The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. It's a book that could seriously change your perspective and give you the tools to build a more fulfilling life.
Absolutely. It's a classic for a reason. And the wisdom in there, it's timeless. It's for anyone who wants to unlock their full potential.
And on that note, we're going to wrap up this deep dive into the power of the subconscious mind. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back soon with another dive into a brand new topic. Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep believing in the incredible power you have inside.